Hello, I'm Patsy Ramsey. Daddy's not here, but this is Jonbenet. She's 4, Burke is 7, and we'd like to welcome you to our home and wish you a very Merry Christmas. Wave, Jonbenet.
911 emergency. We need him. Police. We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please. Explain to me what's going on, okay? There's a note left and our daughter's gone. A note was left and your daughter is gone?
On December 26, 1996, at 5:52 a.m., 6-year-old Jonbenet Ramsey was reported kidnapped by her mother. Later that day, she was found dead in her home.
In Boulder, Colorado, the parents of 6-year-old Jonbenet Ramsey say there's a child killer on the loose.
Soon, pictures of this little girl became public, igniting a media frenzy, and the eyes of the world focused on this shocking case.
The list of suspects narrows. Soon, there will be no one on the list but you.
But the investigation stalled, and they never found the killer.
Keep your babies close to you. There's someone out there.
20 years later, this homicide remains unsolved. I'm Jim Clementi. I'm a retired FBI profiler. I'm an expert in the areas of child sex crimes, child abductions, and child homicides.
My name's Laura Richards. I'm a criminal behavioural analyst, and I've been trained by New Scotland Yard and the FBI.
I joined the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit in 1998, and we did a cold case review of the Jonbenet Ramsey homicide. Originally, it looked like a traditional kidnapping because there was a ransom demand. We found out it clearly was not a kidnapping case. Within 8 hours, the body was found in the house.
My lens is firmly fixed. I'm a victim advocate. I want to get to the truth on behalf of Jonbenet. It's something that's always stayed with me, of just wondering, was this a predatory stalker? Was this an intruder? Was this a domestic violence or child abuse situation?
Our goal is to finally get to the truth and tell the world what actually happened to Jonbenet Ramsey.
Oh my God, please. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Patsy? Patsy? Patsy?
We're really fortunate to have this space where we can actually build our war room and work.
So this is really our think room, being able to go through all the hypotheses, go through all the information and the facts, and I think that part is going to be invaluable.
What we need to do is a complete reinvestigation, starting right from scratch with the 911 call, the crime scene,
ransom note, and the sequence of events. It's really important we get that timeline absolutely clear in our own heads.
We hope to get the truth out about how she died.
And that's the biggest question mark around this case.
So let's talk about what we know about the Ramseys. John, Patsy, Jonbenet, and Burke. John Ramsey is in his second marriage. He had 3 kids from his first marriage.
So Beth, John Andrew, Melinda.
Beth was killed in a car accident.
So that was kind of the package that John came with. Patsy was actually 14 years younger than him. So when they met, they started courting each other. She was 21, 22.
She had been Miss West Virginia, and so for him, she was quite a trophy wife.
She also graduated with a degree in journalism. So she was pretty smart herself at the University of West Virginia.
Didn't she work for John at one point?
She did. John had a rising career in the computer industry. Access Graphic had a $1 billion turnover that very year that Jonbenet was killed. So don't forget the lifestyle. They had 2 planes at one point and I think a 30-foot yacht. To everybody else, they sort of had the perfect family exterior.
This crime happened almost 20 years ago. Jonbenet was just 6 years old. She would be 26 now. A grown woman, maybe she would have her own family. And her brother Burke was almost 10 years old at the time. He's 29 now, a grown man.
And then, of course, after Jonbenet's death, tragedy strikes again when Patsy's diagnosed with grade 4 ovarian cancer. And Patsy dies in 2006. We really do need to understand them as people and speak to as many people who can give us an understanding of who they were and the dynamics between them.
The most important thing is to go where the evidence takes us. The great thing is the people that we've been able to assemble. Many of us were involved in the initial investigation and the investigation over the last 20 years. Dr. Henry Lee, world-renowned criminalist, he is so good at drilling down into the little details and scientific fact and reconstructing crimes.
Jim Fitzgerald, he was a profiler and he's a forensic linguist. He was a former police officer too.
James Kohler was actually hired by the district attorney's office. He reinvestigated the entire case. Stan Burke is somebody who actually teaches statement analysis at the FBI Academy.
Then there's Dr. Werner Spitz.
He has an amazing background in forensic pathology.
And of course, with this case, we really need to understand the autopsy report and what he can tell us about that. 20 years on, putting together this elite and renowned team, and actually bringing these minds into one room, this has never been done before. And when you join up everybody's experience accumulatively, it's over 250 years of experience working in law enforcement.
This case somehow touched my heart. I wish some way can have a conclusion. Not really for the public, for Jonbenet Ramsey.
This is the one case that's stuck in my craw. We have so much evidence, yet we just quite haven't put it together.
What we'd like to do is start up with the actual first thing that started the investigation, that is the 911 call. It was 5:52 a.m. Patsy calls the police.
911 emergency. We need him. Police. What's going on? By 515th Street. What's going on there, ma'am? We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please. Explain to me what's going on, okay? There's a note left and our daughter's gone. A note was left and your daughter is Yes. gone? How old is your daughter? 6 years old. She's blonde. 6 years old. How long ago was it? I don't know. I just found the note. And my daughter's gone. Does it say who took her? What? Does it say who took her? I don't know. There's a ransom note here. It's a ransom note? It says SBTC. Victory. Please. Okay, what's your name? Are you Patsy Ramsey, I'm the mother. Oh my God. Please. I'm sending an officer over, okay? Please. Do you know how long she's been gone? No, I don't. Please, we just got out and she's not here. Oh my God, please. Okay, Please, there's somebody. I am, honey. Please. Take a deep breath for me, Please, okay? hurry. Patsy?
There's 6 seconds of something that's inaudible.
Patsy thought the phone call was ended. The last thing she ever thought was somebody was still listening to her.
Patsy?
Because the 911 call plays such a significant part in this case, Jim Fitzgerald is exactly the right person to be able to provide analysis.
There are, many factors that are very interesting from a forensic linguistic perspective. The fifth word used is the plural pronoun we.
We have a kidnapping.
We have a kidnapping. What does that even mean? Where's the ownership?
She's blonde. 6 years old.
She doesn't mention her daughter's name. She says, my daughter, my 6-year-old
I'm the
blonde.
mother.
I'm the mother.
Are you Patsy Ramsey? I'm the mother.
These are behavioral things that I think are extremely unusual.
Take a deep breath for me, okay? Hurry. Patsy?
The hanging up, if you will. When you make that phone call, someone close to you has disappeared. You're sending out that phone call for help. I've looked at a lot of 911 calls over the years. They'll hold on until the police get there. That's your lifeline. That help indicates hope. The moment you hang up that phone, you end the hope. And for that phone to be hung up, you got to ask yourself why.
Right.
If they're legitimately hoping for their child to be taken care of, rescued, saved, whatever, if there's something else going on, then you have a different set of parameters involved.
And it's interesting that Patsy thought she had hung up the call and disconnected it while the dispatcher was actually calling out her name because she wanted to talk to her more and keep her on the phone until the police arrived.
Patsy?
But she did not hang up the phone.
In the background, we heard some voice.
Some more voices. Who do you hear? In the 90s, they tried to do enhancements of that tape.
911 emergency.
There's been a lot of controversy about what they have actually uncovered on the tape, and most of the general public has never heard the enhanced version. We want to use today's technology to actually nail down what exactly was said and by whom in those final moments of that tape.
Oh my God! Patsy?
It's
Really
hard to
distant.
make it out.
Yeah, what can you do to bring that up?
We could try a little noise reduction on that.
Patsy? Patsy?
Some real.
It's
Really
hard
distant.
to make it out.
Yeah. Let's try it again.
Patsy? Patsy?
Can you slow it down?
Patsy?
So this is the noise reduced.
Patsy?
Oh, wow. I think I hear a man say, "We're not speaking to you." I think that's John Ramsey's voice.
Jonbenet and I had a very close relationship. I will miss her dearly for the rest of my life.
We are not speaking to you.
Well, the tone is a parent talking to a child.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. Okay, so why don't you play it from there?
There's another voice,
Wow,
a
yeah.
female voice.
Can you blow that up and slow it down a little bit? Just a little bit. I don't know.
It sounds like Patsy's voice to me.
I did not kill Jonbenet. I love that child.
Just can you stretch it out a little bit more?
I'm getting, oh, something Jesus, and then it repeated.
I hear either Holy Jesus or Help Me Jesus.
What I heard is, what did you do? What did you do? That's what it sounds like through the speakers. I didn't listen with headphones.
You wanna?
Yeah, sure. I do hear the Jesus the second time. Let's put that through this noise reduction.
Okay, great.
I'm showing it just the noise in between the speech.
Got it.
So hopefully it just takes that out and leaves the speech. Here it comes.
You could be right. It's the same number of syllables, but when you pointed that out, I think I hear the difference between the two sentences. The first part is a little blurry, but certainly what did you do is a very real probability here. Okay, so let's go on to the next part. Stop there. Can you spread that out? Oh my God, what did you find?
What did you find?
Right, what did you find? It sounds like a smaller voice though. It doesn't sound like a booming adult.
Right. There were only 4 people in that house.
Right, one of them was dead.
I believe we've heard John Ramsey's voice.
Patsy?
We've heard Patsy's voice. So, and we know the only other person in the address at the time is Burke.
Right.
This is hugely significant.
Oh my
I mean, this
God.
changes things because their account is that Burke was asleep at the time.
They made a point of saying he was asleep and he had nothing to do with it and that they never even asked him whether he heard anything.
Patsy? Patsy?
Now that we've heard this on the tape, it's really important that we speak to the 911 operator who received the call, Kim Archuleta. I really hope that we can talk to her to get her insights about any kind of behavior that she picked up that the tape might not have captured.
How you doing, Kim? This is Jim Clementi.
love to actually sit down and interview you. And I'm sure that you have a lot of things to say about what happened that day, but also what happened subsequently.
Yeah, I've always been on a gag order. I've never really talked to anybody. So my side of the story has never really been heard.
Hi.
How you doing?
Laura?
Laura Richards, yeah,
Laura
nice
Richards,
to meet
nice
you.
to meet you.
I'm Jim Clementi.
Jim
So nice to
Clementi,
meet you. Thank you so much.
This is the first time that anyone's asked for my opinion.
In 20 years.
In 20 years.
So I'm going to play it, first of all, in full.
Okay.
So that we can hear it.
911 emergency. We need him. We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please. Explain to me what's going on, okay? There's a note left and our daughter's gone. A note was left and your daughter is gone? Does it say who took her? What? Does it say who took her? I don't know. There's a ransom note here. It's a ransom note? Okay, what's your name? Are you Patsy Ramsey? I'm the mother. Oh my God! Please, okay. Hurry. Patsy.
What's your initial reaction to that, Kim?
I just remember having that sunken feeling like something wasn't right. The problem was, if you hear the frantic in her voice as she's speaking to me, where she couldn't even answer my questions, it immediately stopped.
Okay, what's your name? Are you Patsy Ramsey? I'm the mother. Oh my God! Please, hurry. Patsy.
Was a shift in kind of tone from sort of being very hysterical to suddenly something quite different.
Right. What bothered me immensely, it sounded like she said, okay, we've called the police, now what? And that disturbed me. So I remained on the phone trying to hear what was being said. It sounded like there were two voices in the room, maybe three different ones. I had a bad feeling about this. To me, it seemed rehearsed.
And that's your distinct memory. And has that stayed with you the entire
Always.
20 years?
Yes, that's never changed. I know they did an enhancement, right?
Yeah, we did enhance the end of it.
And it's interesting because there are some bits that we can't quite make out, but there are some very clear bits that we can.
Yeah, when we cleaned it up, we hear a man say, "We're not speaking to you." And he's very stern. And then I think we hear Patsy saying something like, "What did you do? Help me, Jesus," or "Help me, Jesus, help me, Jesus." And then Burke, I think, saying, "What did you find?"
I wanted that case solved. I wanted someone to come talk to me. I wanted someone to get my testimony. When they did the grand jury, nobody talked to me.
Really? You didn't testify in the grand jury?
No. I had an investigator come to my house, told me, there's a gag order, do not talk about this until we go to court. And I never was talked to again. And it never went to court.
What did you make of that? I mean,
that's one of the reasons why I even stayed on until they disconnect, because there were things being said that somebody needed to know.
Right.
It was never addressed. I think it would have really turned the case around.
We spoke to Kim Archuleta, who was the 911 dispatcher at the time, and she said the thing that stayed with her was that as Patsy thought that she had disconnected and she was typing up the call, she could hear a gear shift, an instant gear shift, which was in direct contrast to the emotion of the call. And she basically said that what she heard Patsy say was, "Okay, we've called the police, now what?"
And then she said it went on. There was a conversation. She could hear other voices, but she couldn't necessarily make that out. However, when we got the tape enhanced, what we heard was a little different.
You had John saying, "We're not talking to you," very clipped. And then it could have been, "What did you do?" and "Help me, Jesus," from Patsy. And then the young boy's voice saying, "Well, what did you find?" And we must remember that they did say in their statements that Burke was asleep. Why say he's asleep when he's clearly not? I believe we heard this voice on the 911.
And that absolutely changes the entire focus of this investigation. And we should keep that in mind as we evaluate the rest of this evidence. So let's talk ransom note. Although the 911 call actually initiated this investigation, when the police arrived, the first piece of physical evidence was that ransom note, or letter, because of the length of this particular note.
In the 380 some words in this ransom note, there is a treasure trove of information that's unprecedented in the annals of criminal justice history, as far as I know, that both a ransom note requesting money and the body is left behind at the scene.
Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We're a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We respect your business, but not the country that it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. She is safe and unharmed, and if you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter.
You will draw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. When you get home, you will put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money and hence an earlier pickup of your daughter.
Any deviation of my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be denied her remains for proper burial. The two gentlemen watching over your daughter do not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as the police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies.
You can try to deceive us, but be warned that we are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions, and you stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny, as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You are not the only fat cat around, so don't think that killing will be difficult. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good Southern common sense of yours. It is up to you now, John. Victory, SBTC.
And I think this is one of the most important pieces of forensic evidence in this entire investigation. Stan, what do you think about the beginning of the letter?
I find it fascinating because first it addressed, the addressee, Mr. Ramsey, but then the next two words are listen carefully. And if we look at the letter here, this jumps out at me simply because, number one, it's a letter. What are we listening to?
Right.
So it should say, read carefully.
And I wouldn't even expect to see read carefully. You
Right.
have a missing child, you're going to read this carefully. That's a given.
There seems to be multiple motives embodied in this document. So you first start out with this foreign faction. That's always stuck out in my mind.
And what is a faction? It's just made up.
So what do you make of the amount and these really specific instructions about what size the bill should be?
The amount, 118, is very close to the bonus Mr. John Ramsey would have received or did receive that year.
Right.
Now, that's a unique number.
The fact that it's so specific makes it stand out.
He's a millionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to do this, you go large. I mean, why would you go for 118 when you can go for $1 million?
Right.
When the Boulder investigators came to me and showed me this letter, I noticed some quotes in here that I said, boy, I recognize them from somewhere. And it was sort of early in the internet days, and it wasn't as easy to search things back then, but I rented a few movies that I thought I recognized these lines from, and the first of them comes from these 4 sentences I'm about to read. So if you follow along with me here, on the second page, we have something borrowed from a cinematic version of a kidnapping of a young girl, the 1972 movie Dirty Harry.
One of the things that we know from the actual crime scene video was that the house is filled with movie posters.
If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. In the movie, instead of it actually being a dog, a dog breed is actually mentioned. If you alert bank authorities, she dies, she dies, she dies. But we're not done. Last page. Don't try to grow a brain, John. A certain character who was an LAPD police officer who was on a runaway bus was talking to a mad bomber on his cell phone. The movie was Speed.
This here, if you alert bank authorities, she dies. You told us early on, follow your instructions or she'll be beheaded, executed, beheaded. So why do you have to keep telling this over and over again? 76% of this is extraneous. Really?
76%.
It's not necessary. To me, they're trying to sell this now. It's a sales job.
This whole thing could have been done in 4 lines. We have your daughter. Withdraw $118,000. Put the money in a paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. Don't call the FBI or the police, or she'll die SBTC.
What you just said from a historical perspective is essentially what we have in the 3 ransom notes going back to Lindbergh, Weinberger, and Wiles. And one other mitigating factor in these other 3 kidnappings, the person was actually missing, wasn't dead in the house somewhere. We just have so much in the way of variation between these particular historical kidnappings and this letter.
Why don't we start actually building a linguistic profile? What we're trying to do is figure out who wrote this whole entire letter.
Writing ability, I would say, is high. We have an advanced writing style expressed throughout this letter. The only mistakes are found in the first paragraph. We have the concept of foreign faction up here in the second sentence. Well, right below it, we have the word business, and if you'll notice, it's misspelled. There's an extra S in here. Perhaps someone who is not a native English speaker would in fact insert that extra S. So what I noticed early on is that this was a purposeful mistake. This was done to tie in somehow to the concept that this person is a foreigner and perhaps does not speak English as their native tongue.
Particularly enforcement, countermeasures, they're all spelled properly.
What it tells me is there's an element of disguise involved. These misspellings, they were inserted for a reason to make it look like it's somebody other than who it really was. Language 1, and I would clearly say it's English.
So they're native English speaker?
Yes. The first language they learned in life was English. I have no doubt about that. Age is not always easy to determine, but I would certainly say this person is an adult. No indication of sort of teenage slang, vernacular. So I would say we have someone, an adult, 30 or older. The last one, and part of a linguistic profile, is gender. And this can be one of the trickiest ones to determine. There are at least 6 examples of what I would call maternalistic language. The very first sentence is already circled. Can you picture a mother telling their young child, listen carefully? When you get home, not when you get back to your house, not when you get to your residence, when you get home, do not particularly like you. Would a guy necessarily care if someone likes them or not? In this context, I find in the thousands of cases I've worked over the years, when someone puts a statement in like that, it turns out to be a female.
The less information you give in a ransom letter or note, the less of a chance you have of being caught. You don't want to leave clues.
Right.
This does just the opposite.
Right, and this is high-risk behavior, leaving such a long letter, and the time it takes to write something
and
like
that,
this.
the fact that it was written in the house, not before the fact, in preparation for a kidnapping, which you would think they would do, right?
Right, you're exactly right, Jim.
The paper, the investigator found a pad, also found 2 practice notes.
That pad was actually Patsy's pad, right? From her little writing desk in the hallway.
That's my understanding, yes.
And the pen was actually found underneath
the phone.
Whoever wrote this managed to commit a murder, find the pad, find the pen, practiced a couple times because they didn't want to show bad penmanship or something, write it, and then put the pad and pen back to where they normally are kept.
It makes no sense at all to do that, unless it's something other than what the note is making it appear to be.
You know, they go to all of this trouble and time writing this note. So I'd like us all just to write out the letter and I'm going to put it to time.
I'm ready.
Let's begin. It's not about speed, but it is about exactly what they have written in the notes. The hand cramp. We're doing it a lot quicker and without dotting all the I's, which noticeably all of the I's are dotted in this.
Wow, lots of eyes.
And that takes more time because you're being exact.
I didn't understand your instructions, and I used all uppercase, so I had no I's to dot.
Right, I'm done.
Finally.
21 minutes.
Just mechanically, it took 21 and a half minutes just to write this thing. If it were original text, it would have taken so much longer because somebody is thinking of what to write. But even if they did it this fast, that's 21 and a half minutes that they could have been caught. 21 and a half minutes that they stayed in the house longer than they needed to.
Assuming this is done by an outside person who broke into the house for the purposes of a kidnapping.
I think we can all agree this letter is clearly staged. What we have to decide through our investigation is whether it was staged by somebody in the family or somebody who came into this home. Because this case is an open investigation on the books, we have to be the investigators and dig up what we can find. Ron.
Hi, Jim. Good to see you.
Thanks for coming out. Ron Walker was the only FBI agent to visit the crime scene on that day. It's incredibly important for us to talk to him and get his insights. I was just telling Laura that unlike any of the other people who were first responders to the scene, you went as a behavioral analyst.
Right.
You had already had that training, years of experience. You knew what to look for.
Once it became obvious that it was a murder case rather than a kidnapping, then the FBI really didn't have primary jurisdiction in the case.
You know, looking back, only one homicide a year was kind of what they were dealing with.
Right.
So they didn't have the knowledge and your expertise.
What we'd like to do is build a timeline of what happened over that day. But the first day is the most critical.
You're going to have the answers to some of the gaps that we've got.
Well, at some point that morning, the Boulder Police Department notified the FBI about a kidnapping for ransom of a child. That's the only information that they conveyed to me at that point. 5:52, the 911 call was made. Next are the calls to the Ramsey friends, the Fernies and the Whites. The next one that I have is actually the arrival of Officer French. And sometime after 6 o'clock, but an unknown time, is the Ramsey friends arrive. And then the next thing, and I don't have the time associated with this, is the crime scene investigators and victims advocates arrive. 8:10 is the time that Arnton arrived at the house.
Yeah.
I got contacted around between 8:15 and 8:30. I drove to the FBI office in Denver to pick up the equipment that I thought I would need. 11 o'clock, I arrive at the Boulder Police Department. 11:45 is the first time I have a discussion with Sergeant Larry Mason. We discussed all the information that we had up to that point. What's going on at the house, what's going on with the police department, who's doing what.
Once you got in there, how did it progress from there?
Well, once I got into the command post, I got to look at the ransom note. You know, the first thing that caught my eye about the note itself was the length of the note. Highly, highly unusual in the realm of kidnappings.
Right.
Yeah.
A couple of things jump out at you right away, at least from my perspective. Number one is the whole idea of a small foreign faction. If you're going to kidnap somebody, what you're going to want to do is convey an image of authority and power.
Right.
You know, we're a large group of terrorists who have your daughter, and we're going to kill her unless you meet our demands.
Right.
Not a small foreign faction.
Right.
It competes against itself, right?
It does.
In general, abductions of children for a ransom is an extremely rare event.
Right. And much more prominent are the parental kidnappings.
Correct.
Of a non-custodial parent or by a non-custodial parent. So it was my belief at this juncture that, as I said, the ransom note was a red herring, and that it was staging. So it's even more important at that point for the detectives to maintain visual contact with the family. I wasn't so much concerned about Patsy, because Patsy was in the solarium and she was surrounded by the family friends and she was crying. She wasn't going to go anywhere. And at this point, Larry Mason and I start talking about, well, what are we going to do to try to make sure the detectives there maintain visual contact with the family?
You want to control the crime scene.
Well, more importantly, I want to control the movements of the people in that crime scene. About noon, Linda Arndt calls in to Mason and tells him that Ramsey has been out of pocket for about an hour and a half.
Says when he reappears, his demeanor has changed.
He's agitated.
He's agitated.
The Boulder police were still trying to get detectives to come in. Kind of a overwhelming scene or sense of confusion.
The fact that this was reported as a kidnapping, those officers that were available were actually focusing their energy and their time and their resources outside of the house.
I thought that Linda Arndt should grab John Ramsey and tell John, we're going to search the house from top to bottom. And from my perspective, that was nothing but kindergarten make-work. I wanted him to be busy.
Right.
But I wanted him to be busy in Linda Arndt's presence.
In the presence of her.
In the presence of the officer. And that way, we're not going to run into the situation where for an hour and a half he goes missing again.
Right.
But what I learned later on from Linda is that when she tells John, we're going to search the house top and bottom, and we're going to start at the top, Ramsey is there with Fleet White. He grabs Fleet by the arm and makes a beeline for the basement door. John Ramsey opens the door, says something about finding his daughter, and then turns the light on. Virtually every staged murder case that I have seen, the perpetrator manipulates the arrival of friends or other family members who are then put in a situation where they actually discover the body,
right,
or they are with the perpetrator as the body is discovered.
They bring somebody along, they discover the body, but with a witness who can testify to their shock and awe and horror at what they find.
So John Ramsey brings the body upstairs. He puts her down right here.
He puts her down on the ground. But right here is a living room couch, a coffee table, chairs. Why would he put her on the floor?
By the time I got there, her body is in the living room.
Right.
Near the Christmas.
So she's been moved again?
Well, Linda Arndt moves her the second time. She and Officer French are the only two people there now at this point.
She's effectively having to control people walking through the crime scene.
The way I learned this is when Larry and I walked in the entrance, Officer French was standing right there. Mm. And I asked him, I said, hey, were you standing here when the body was found? And he says, yeah. He says, Ramsey brought the body up and put it right there. I looked down at my feet and I said to French, I said, you mean right here? And he says, yeah, right there. What I'm thinking is crime scene contamination. I mean, who else has walked on that carpet? You know, all the people in that day, the people that were there last week, traipsing in and out, and now the body is put down there, and now the body's picked up and moved yet again. So that's when it really first hit me about the nightmare that the forensic people were going to have.
Wow, it's massive.
Part of doing a criminal investigative analysis is doing a crime scene reconstruction.
We're rebuilding key rooms that relate to this case, and those rooms are Jonbenet's bedroom. You know, that was the last place that she was seen alive. The spiral staircase where the ransom letter was found. The kitchen and the basement, including the wine cellar where Jonbenet's body was eventually found.
We can't turn back time inside the real house, but what we can do here, as much as you can clinically and scientifically, try to put it together.
Reproduce it and put us in it.
It's incredibly important for us to actually see and feel what that house looked like, and actually forming a hypothesis and a theory of how the crime was actually committed.
I feel like it's taking me back in time.
Yeah, you've done a good job with the duplication.
So this is where the letter was found, third step on the spiral staircase.
Correct. A stranger would typically think the most logical place to find a note would be on a desk, on a table in the
Kitchen counter.
On the kitchen counter.
Why don't you take us through how you actually went through the basement?
It took Sergeant Mason and me only a few minutes to get from the police department to the Ramsey house.
And what sort of time was this? This is around sort of...
It's 1:20, somewhere around that time frame.
Right, so quite close to the body being discovered.
Oh, yeah. Larry Mason and I came downstairs. I was actually following his lead. I was trying to orient myself because I had never seen the basement before. And walked into the room that's, I call it a game room. I think they call it a train room. And as I came back in this particular part of the room, first thing I noticed, obviously, was the 3 sets of windows in the wall up there. And I noticed the broken window and the suitcase. When I see a blue suitcase below a window, the first thing that I'm thinking was the intent eventually by the perpetrator to put the body in a suitcase and remove the body from the crime scene. Did things move too quickly? Was the perpetrator, who had that as his motive, overtaken by events?
Right, or what about concealing the body for a time too?
Well, concealing the body, right. I have to tell you, that's the first thing that jumped in my mind.
So where did you go next?
We're looking around, and Larry Mason pointed back there, and he said, that's the room where Jonbenet's body was found. So at that point, we both walked back to that particular room. It's just an odd feeling, almost like you're transported back to that particular room in time.
Feels like a tomb.
It does.
When Larry Mason and I came down here, the lights were on.
Right.
Probably because John Ramsey had turned them on after he'd opened the door.
Right. So you can go ahead and turn it on.
By the time I got there, her body is in the living room.
John brings her up.
John
takes
brings her
off
up.
the duct tape and the white blanket.
Yeah, leaves it down there. We didn't step into the room very far. Larry probably came over to this particular area here. And I just kind of stepped in the doorway to the left. Didn't want to walk too much farther into the room, simply because this was the room where the child had been deposited for some period of time.
Statements that were made said that John called out that she was here before he turned the light on.
From my perspective now, I can look in here and see objects.
Right.
But I don't know that I can necessarily identify objects.
Right.
I mean, this just looks like a jumble of cloth to me.
Right. And how would you know that that was actually your daughter wrapped up in there?
As I recall, he's never been asked those questions.
Why was that?
It was my belief that the philosophy that was kind of laid out for the police department that day was we have to treat them with kid gloves. Treat them with deference. Treat them as victims and not as suspects.
Was a reason
They were
given?
influential. They were wealthy.
From what I can see, the influence here really had a very significant impact as to why people were allowed to come and go from the house.
Going through the list of things that initially puzzled me, but then I started thinking, when you add them all together, I started thinking, well, there's something really bizarre and odd about all of this. Right around the time that I was there. There was another detective there that I think had overheard John making a call for his airplane. And this was after the body has been discovered, right? Why does John Ramsey want to leave so quickly when he has to understand that there's going to be a police investigation and his daughter has just been killed?
You know, for me, it isn't just a red flag. This is an absolute anomaly.
First thing you do in a homicide case, if you have witnesses, is you separate them, you take them someplace, and you get a statement.
Right.
And you have to get the Ramseys interviewed by the police. In that first 24 to 36 hours.
And the only problem is they didn't get interviewed by the police.
They didn't, right.
That's why we need to speak to Fleet, because I really want to know what was going on in that house. Fleet and Priscilla White are what we would call significant witnesses. They were best friends to the Ramseys at the time, and they were at that home during those hours as it all unfolded.
I got a message from Fleet White. I think the important thing that we want to talk to Fleet about is the Ramseys' behavior that morning.
I certainly find that a very curious decision of why you would invite your friends to your home address when you're in crisis and chaos.
Especially if they think that somebody actually came into their home and abducted their child Why are they bringing in other friends?
Right.
I know that the Whites are very concerned about talking openly about this case because they've had a really bad experience.
Fleet was one of the first people to question John and told him categorically to stop hiding behind his lawyer and to cooperate with the police.
In a 14-page open letter, Fleet White criticized the Boulder District Attorney and took particular aim at the Ramseys. White says the investigation has failed because the Ramseys have refused to fully cooperate with investigators.
So we're gonna go meet Fleet, but he said no camera, so we're gonna have to stop filming. It's more important that we have it than we have it documented.
Agreed.
You can tell them we've got a camera crew nearby, like we could actually come up now and do it now.
Okay.
Or we've got time at the end of the day, and if those times don't work, we'll do it any other time. We really, really want their story.
Yeah.
All right, see you, thanks.
All right.
Wait, is this them? Yes, this is them. Hi. So what happened?
Well, it was fascinating. They have so much knowledge, but there's a lot of pain here.
My wife, Priscilla, and I have lived in Boulder since 1994. We were present at the Ramsey home when Jonbenet's body was found.
Our family were publicly branded as murderers, torturers of young children, pedophiles, and perjurers.
You know, they did have reservations. They are afraid, and they don't want to see this ever happen again.
Do you think they understood how committed you really are?
Yeah, they're willing to talk to us, but they just don't want to do it on camera. And when we were leaving, Fleet took me aside and said, Jim, I really think we have some really important information that will help you. And I said, of course you do. That's why we're here. And we'll keep coming back here as much as we have to convince you that this is the right thing to do, because we really feel it is.
So we need to strategize, we need to plan.
Okay, all right. Well, you guys are embedded.
Our hope is to try and get what we would call community intelligence, to knock on their doors. Hi, my name's Laura Richards. And unlock some of these secrets to try and crack this case wide open. I was wondering if I could just speak to you for a couple of minutes. I'm over here in the US reinvestigating the Jonbenet Ramsey case.
Well, let me stop you here. It was just a terrible thing that happened, but I don't want to, talk to you about it. We'd prefer not to talk about it.
You would?
Yeah.
It's incredibly frustrating when you're talking to people and not getting any answers. This was the Ramsey's church. I'm over here because I'm reinvestigating the Jonbenet Ramsey case.
We just don't comment on that.
My name's Laura Richards. I mean, a lot of people have been... If I can just tell you a little bit about who I am and... You just get a sense that people are fearful to speak out.
At the tone, please record your message. But if you'll leave me a message, I'll get back to you just as soon as I can.
I'd really like to try and have a conversation with you, so please could you give me a call back? Maybe you can give me a call back, please, and if you'd be kind enough to call me back. Many thanks, many thanks, many thanks. I'm getting a bit fed up with this.
It's critical for us to talk with people who can give us insight into the Ramseys' private world. People who knew them, worked with them, or spent time in their home. When did you start working for the Ramseys?
It might have been 94. That summer, Patsy Ramsey gave me the job, hired me.
Really?
One of the things I remember was she wanted pristine gardens.
Really?
Yeah. I was thinking to myself, okay. Seemed like a pretty good job. I could use my own hours. And
So how frequently did you see John?
not very frequently at all. Once a season, maybe.
Did you ever run into the kids?
Yeah, not Burke so much, but Jonbenet would come out and she would often, I don't know, be playing relatively close to where I would be working. And one of the biggest things that stands out was when I would be raking the leaves in the fall. You know, I have all the leaves in a pile and she wanted to jump in them. I remember her referencing it reminded her of time she spent with her dad. You know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So she didn't mind, getting dirty or messing up her
No,
hair.
she didn't mind. She seemed like a normal kid who just likes to play and misses her father. I remember that.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Because everybody's image of her is sort of dressed and made up to the max.
I don't know too much about pageantry, but I would think it demanded a lot of discipline and, focus on just certain talents that she had to hone in and get right. I did remember seeing her practicing the violin.
Oh, really?
And Patsy was out talking to me, and then I think she went back and checked in and said, hey, you have to keep practicing.
Okay.
Don't put that down.
Oh, really? And with respect to Burke, did he ever come out and play outside? Did you ever see him?
What I remember was he stuck to himself. He seemed a little more introverted. She was more engaging and more outgoing than him.
And so, your first impression of Patsy, what was she like when you first met her?
Oh, she was very pleasant, really nice.
Did she ever come out and...
She came out once in a while, and we would talk about whatever,
Okay.
One of the things I remember was when they announced the O.J. verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty of the crime of murder.
I was at their house.
You were outside working on the garden.
Patsy came out and told me that O.J. was declared innocent.
Really?
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
I just remember, she came out and started talking to me about it.
Patsy?
Yeah, she thought O.J. got away with murder. She didn't like that one bit. She did say, you can get away with murder in this country.
Speaking to people who know the family, getting an understanding of who they were, what was going on prior, is so important.
We're going to go now to see Patsy's friend. She was a photographer.
Like the family portraits, and she seemed to be pretty close with Patsy.
Well, I first met the Ramseys in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
We were more social friends.
Right.
In Boulder, we became even closer friends because we were on a softball team together. Mom's Gone Bad, of all things. That's the name of our team. They had lots of friends. Lots and lots of friends from Boulder. They were both really good hosts. You always felt really welcomed when you walked through the door. Patsy was fun to be around. She was a showgirl. So her clothing, her home, she is a girl that never compromised.
Did your daughter play with Jonbenet?
Even though my daughter was Burke's age, she ended up playing with Jonbenet.
Right.
Because Burke was kind of, girls, There was one time when my daughter was playing with Jonbenet, they went up to her room and my daughter inquired about all the awards that were on display. She goes, what's that for, Jonbenet? And she goes, oh, I'm in the pageant system. But she didn't make a big deal out of it.
Right.
And she said, but they really belong more to my mom. They're more my mom's trophies than they are mine.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one particular Christmas party. That's the first time Jonbenet came down with a beautiful dress and bleached blonde hair. I was shocked. And I took Patsy aside and said, you're not dyeing your hair, are you? And she said, oh, no. Judith, that's from the summer sun in Charlevoix, Michigan.
You think that was...
Oh, are you kidding?
You were there.
I was there. It was, you're lying to me.
Mm-hmm.
It bothered me that she had to lie to me. Why didn't she just tell me the truth?
Mm. Can you tell us about when you saw Patsy after Jonbenet's death?
She was not the same person that I had ever known. She looked exhausted. And she kept repeating over and over again, who could have killed my baby? Who could have done this?
Was there any interaction that you had with Patsy or with the family after that?
No, that was it. I was cut off. We were told in our circle of friends in Boulder, do not talk to reporters, do not talk to the police.
Told by who?
I was called by one of the friends in the circle of friends.
What did that make you think?
I was surprised. My first thought was, if there was anything that I knew that could help with the investigation, I'm not going to be silent. I felt a duty to the memory of Jonbenet. I loved her very much. You're going to make me cry. I opened my doors up to reporters and then talked to the police twice, and they just cut me off as a friend. They felt I betrayed them. You know, at the time, I didn't understand, but in hindsight, it's because I told it, you know, I didn't obey what all the other friends did.
How did you feel, though, when you saw them actually doing the opposite? They went on CNN.
I felt that they were hypocrites. And when Patsy said, hold your babies close to you, there's a murderer in town. It frightened my daughter so much that she couldn't sleep in her own bedroom for several months.
What did you think about that?
I thought it was bogus.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, Patsy asked a favor of me to go to the mayor. I knew the mayor because I had photographed her. Patsy said, please ask for protection for my family. So I went to the mayor's office and I said, Patsy wants protection. And she said, there's no murderer out there.
How does it make you feel now when you think 20 years have passed?
I feel angry. I feel angry that that little girl still, after all these years, has not gotten justice. And I don't believe she ever will.
Although the statistics say if a child of that age is killed within their own home, it is most likely a family member that did it. The fact is, the brutality of this particular attack says the exact opposite. This is a very bizarre dichotomy. It fights itself right from the beginning. Another critically important part of any murder investigation is understanding how a person was killed.
So Ramsey 96, Jonbenet.
Look at this.
Yeah, the autopsy.
Cause of death of this 6-year-old female is asphyxia by strangulation associated with cranial cerebral trauma. During the original autopsy, the medical examiner thought that the cause of death was asphyxiation by strangulation due to the rope tied around her neck. This is the kind of thing we're going to have to ask Werner Spitz about, because that word associated with, it's very general. And is it before, is it after, is this...
Were they both fatal? I mean, you know, I guess only Werner can tell us that.
We brought Dr. Spitz in. He's an incredibly experienced forensic pathologist. His experience goes back all the way to the JFK assassination. And he was involved in the initial investigation brought in by the Boulder Police Department.
Look, I've seen some 60,000 cases. So if I don't, I don't know everything. But this case, it made an impression on me. The Boulder Police Department called my office and asked, would I agree to come to Boulder? You know, as a forensic pathologist, I want to have first-hand information. Where is what in the house?
I think we all feel the same way. We totally agree.
Exactly. But we did not get permission to get in.
Who wouldn't let you in?
I believe the family. The police had to get permission from them. They told the police, no dice. He is not coming to this house. They did not want me in the house. Maybe, may just be, that I would figure something out that nobody else knows.
But then you reviewed the autopsy findings and the injuries and the sequencing. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, she had a blow to the head on the right side. The bone underneath that area showed a perfectly rectangular defect. I didn't know at the time what caused this.
Okay.
But then I looked at the photographs and saw a 3-mag flashlight sitting on the kitchen counter.
Right.
And I said, well, I have to check whether that may have been the cause.
And did you do experiments?
I did that, yeah. I'll show you what I did.
Okay.
This is what I had an artist draw for me. This is how the flashlight fits to perfection, approximately ½ an inch through the bone.
So, Dr. Spitz, this is the house that you didn't get to go and see. We're now in the kitchen.
The phone that she actually made the 911 call.
It's uncanny.
So a lot of the detail that we have here, the flashlight.
Yeah.
You've been thinking about this case for 20 years, right? What does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel eerie.
Eerie.
I relive this, you know, because this answers questions that I had at one time.
Really?
And never materialized.
That must feel frustrating for you as well, not being allowed in. And
Oh yeah, it made me wonder what is being put away, hidden,
right.
and why.
Do you believe that she was alive when she was struck on the head?
Oh yes.
And she was also alive when she was choked, strangled?
Please understand this. When a very severe injury to the brain occurs, because the heart has its own ability to produce contractions, to cause a false impression of life existing.
So she was virtually dead when the garrote was applied. So asphyxiation was not the way she actually passed away.
Yes. That is my advantage as a forensic pathologist. They did not know that. So they applied a mechanism of death that at face value, you'd think, oh, she was strangled. And then, of course, she has a blow to the head. So which is it? Well, it's very simple when I explain to you that, yes, she was strangled. To make believe that was the cause of death, she already was brain dead.
There's a few more injuries that we need to talk about. The neck injuries and the ligatures, because I think this is also kind of really important. The fact that her hands were tied in this way with a slip knot. Was it 15 or 18 inches between?
15 and a half.
So this is where the next knot should be. I'm gonna put this around. So you see this? The rope is actually over her sweater. It's not on her wrist.
That's why she doesn't have any marks.
She doesn't have any marks. Could you help me with that?
Well, it's very unusual for it to be over clothing.
So if she's not unconscious, why doesn't she just do this?
Or if she had duct tape on her mouth.
Yeah, but if she's dead.
So what does that tell you? This was staging.
You're totally correct.
So let's look at the garrote.
Why does anybody need this contraption? Why do you need the stake?
Right.
You can just put that around your hand and then do the same thing on the other hand. Totally unnecessary. When you break into a house, isn't time of the essence?
Right.
You want to come in, do your killing, and leave. So why do you need this?
It just complicates things. You spend more
It
time
leaves evidence
there.
around.
And it leaves
You
evidence.
don't need that.
Yeah, and then that's interesting because it does look to me like it's quite complicated.
It is. Well, somebody who knows how to make knots.
Right.
So this is a common knot for
Right.
a sailor. The way I looked upon it is this by itself, without anything else, would have told me this is a make-believe type scene. Why do you need any garrote when a hand of an adult can squeeze a child like that?
Right, okay, so the ultimate conclusion then is the garrote isn't what actually caused the death.
Correct.
The blow to the head did.
Correct.
I just want to play a devil advocate.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's what we're here for, to discuss it.
We should find tissue and blood on the flashlight. And also should have broken hairs. This area, we should have trace evidence, blood, hair, tissue. That's why I suggest them to do some DNA, try to find tissue and blood. Apparently they did not find anything.
The skin is extremely elastic, so it would go with the impact and not hold on to the impact.
So the blow to her head was strong enough to break her skull, but not strong enough to break the skin.
The skull may break, but the skin may not.
Right.
I've seen that so many times.
Right, so then that can explain why this was not a bloody crime scene.
There would not have been any blood.
Right.
Right.
Not from that anyway.
It could be the flashlight. I'm not saying it's not the flashlight, but anything similar to that shape, that width, with force can cause that. So I agree with you totally. The cause of the death is brain injury by a blunt object.
We need to determine whether or not that flashlight could have made the fracture in the skull of Jonbenet Ramsey, and whether or not it took a tremendous amount of force to create that kind of fracture.
We don't have the complete picture.
A vital piece of missing evidence has reportedly been found in the Jonbenet Ramsey murder case. Time magazine is reporting police in Boulder, Colorado have found a flashlight that may have been used in Jonbenet's murder.
I'd like to think if I was one of the first investigators on the scene. All of a sudden there's a big 15-inch or so mag light in the middle. I'd at least want to say, hey, who does that belong to?
This flashlight was never claimed, I believe, by anyone living at the address or by the police.
None of the officers claimed it was theirs. It's my understanding that it was a gift given to them. It was kept in the kitchen drawer.
And that is presumptively how it got in the house. The reason why we want to do impact tests is to determine whether or not that flashlight could have made the fracture in the skull of Jonbenet Ramsey, and whether or not it took a tremendous amount of force to create that kind of fracture.
On the right side of the head, there was an impact. The flashlight hit in the back of the head, somewhere around on the right side, but towards the back, where I'm showing here with my finger.
Right.
The brain was bruised along the entire right side. Where the brain was bruised, energy waves went through the entire brain from the right side all over. This is called a concussive impact that caused a concussion to the brain, in this case, a fatal concussion. The fracture to the skull preserved the appearance, the dimensions of the flashlight that was on the counter in the kitchen. Forensic pathologists always look for patterns, because a pattern opens the door to what type of instrument was used. But one thing is important. There was not a drop of blood on the outside. Why was there not a drop of blood? Because there is an elasticity to the skin, so this is all blunt. Nothing here will cut the skin. When the flashlight came down, the flashlight went in for about half an inch, the skin was pushed in, broke the bone, and did not cause any damage to the skin.
Is there any way we can replicate that?
Remember that a human skull is an involved structure where there's a solid bone, very thin, in a 6-year-old, maybe 1/16 of an inch in thickness. Then there is a layer of spongy bone marrow. Then there is another layer.
But we can do a representation of that.
Okay. You want to do it?
Sure, I'll try it. Okay. So that's just like this diagram that you have?
That's exactly like that. See, the main thing about this one is the fact that it's totally rectangular. The head of the flashlight easily falls into that defect, leaving no space. I've seen a lot of different kinds of injuries. But this instrument here can be an amazing weapon.
So would it take tremendous strength to do
No,
this?
because this is a heavy object with 3 batteries in it. The skull of a 6-year-old, we call them eggshell skulls.
Got it.
But you don't need much force. I mean, I think
You
that's
don't
just...
need such huge amount of force. No, that is a mistake. Could be an adult, it could be a child that did it.
Okay, so this would be exactly how tall Jonbenet was.
Right, she was
And-
3'11".
Yes.
So, Dr. Spitz, we have a skull, but with pig skin over the top of it to act sort of like the scalp, to see what it looks like if somebody hits it with a flashlight. We're trying to sort of simulate this as closely as we can as a sort of a scientific experiment, but this is quite hard to do, but we do need to do this just to see what it looks like.
Okay.
Because there's so much controversy about whether or not a child is actually capable of creating the defect in the skull. We thought it would be good if we actually brought in a child who was about 10 years old to actually do the demonstration with him.
Sure.
We're going to ask you to strike the skull. Where do you think, Dr. Spitz? Round about here?
Okay, and do it here.
So round about there.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll just take it off here. We're just going to peel this back, and you can see how it's broken. It's very similar to the type of break that we saw on Jonbenet.
The impact of the demonstration was a convincing confirmation of the association of the flashlight with that injury in the head.
For any injury, it's velocity. Velocity square times the mass give you the energy. This is a lot of energy.
There was, in my view, no doubt that this flashlight, or one exactly like it, caused that injury.
And it didn't take tremendous strength to do that either.
It did not.
There is a killer on the loose. I will tell my friends to keep your babies close to you.
Within days of Jonbenet's body being found, the Ramseys speak to CNN before they've even given interviews to the Boulder Police Department.
There's someone out there.
So we have the first interview that the Ramseys did on January 1st on CNN.
It's probably one of the most important because it was right at the start, within days after their daughter being found murdered, and they invite the media in, and I think it's really interesting what they actually said at that press conference as well. It's not just about them being proactive, it's the content of what they said.
Right, and they have not sat down with the police department to do separate interviews in order to rule them out as suspects in this crime, yet they're sitting down with CNN. We'd like to get your insights into what their behavior tells you and the words that are coming out of their mouths.
With the help of Jim Fitzgerald doing forensic linguistic analysis and Stan Burke doing statement analysis, we're going to take a look at media appearances that the Ramseys have made over the years in the same way we deconstructed the ransom letter.
Why did you decide you wanted to talk now?
We have to find out who did this.
Not because we're angry, but because we've got to go on.
Someone's broken into your home, someone has killed and abused your child.
You're going to be angry, and you're going to want to find out who did it, and you want to see punishment. That's the natural response.
Fitz and Stan are incredibly unique in their expertise. Jim Fitzgerald analyzes and dissects language choice. Stan Burke looks at things like the content of a statement and how much of it is potentially misleading.
Are you fully convinced that your daughter was kidnapped by some outsiders outside your family or circle of friends?
Yes.
Shaking her head no.
It's just so hard to know.
Shaking her head no, and then when John says yes, she changes her head to a nod up and down.
What I find interesting here, Jim, is he said yes. That's an answer to that question.
Are you fully convinced that your daughter was kidnapped?
Yes.
Does he say anything else?
It's just so hard to know what, but our family is a loving family. It's a gentle family.
Why throw that in there? It's not necessary. You have your answer, yes.
Right.
But he wants to make sure the listener or the viewer hears we are a loving and gentle family.
Gentle.
That's the message being sent here.
For our grief to resolve itself, we now have to find out why this happened.
I mean, why is it the why that's important?
It's a very odd turn of phrase, isn't it?
We cannot go on until we know why.
This is probably a very honest question John and Patsy Ramsey are asking themselves. It's very likely they know who did it. They may still be trying to figure out why did this happen.
It's like an unconscious utterance in a way,
Absolutely.
isn't it?
It's almost like he's jumped past that conclusion as to who did it.
Right.
And now he wants to know.
Until we know why.
Why?
Yeah.
There is a killer on the loose. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's a he or a she. But if I were a resident of Boulder, I will tell my friends to keep your babies close to you. There's someone out there.
Well, let me ask you this. John Ramsey and Patsy Ramsey got on national TV.
Right, CNN.
Was there anything that they said that struck you as odd?
The whole thing was odd at that time.
And how did that affect the community here?
I don't think people believed her.
What did you know about the Ramseys as a family? What was known in the community about them at that point?
Very little. It's not like O.J. Simpson. They weren't famous people. Yeah, they had money. He had a successful company, but they weren't nationally famous. So there was no compelling reason why this should have become the big sensation that it was. But it was the week after Christmas, before New Year's. There's no news. It's a very quiet time for national news, and that was when the 24-hour news cycle was still pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of how you fill in these 24-hour gaps when nothing's happening for a whole week drove, I think, a lot of what happened next, which is there were these videos of this little girl in the pageants with the makeup on, dancing almost seductively in a way that just seemed to the regional mores to be wrong and sexual in a way that a 6-year-old shouldn't be. Growing up in the Northeast, pageants were not common. In the Deep South, in Georgia where they were from, that's a normal thing for little girls to do.
It sounds like it was a media circus very early on.
Within days.
Murder of Jonbenet Ramsey.
Police should be looking for suspects.
Worldwide media frenzy. Jonbenet's body was found.
It was every national newspaper, national news magazine, the 3 networks, and every tabloid.
And then I was thinking about sort of post-OJ. I mean, that context at the time is probably quite important in this particular
Absolutely.
case.
I thought at the time that that had an influence potentially on what the police and the district attorney were doing, especially I think more the DA, that they didn't want to fall into some of the same pitfalls that the prosecutors in Los Angeles had, being burned in court because the police didn't dot all the I's and cross the T's.
Mm-hmm.
4 months after their daughter's murder, the parents of Jonbenet Ramsey have submitted to interviews with police. Patricia and John Ramsey met separately with Boulder detectives for more than 8 hours. Jonbenet's body was discovered in the family home December 26th, but the Ramseys had not agreed to formal interviews with police until now.
We've been anxious to do this for some time, and I can tell you why it's taken us so long. We felt from the beginning an obligation to talk with the Boulder authorities, let them do their formal interrogation of Patsy and I. That is, I think, as you know, been successfully accomplished yesterday.
Stop right there. Why is that such an accomplishment to go and talk to the police about the possible resolution of your daughter's homicide?
120 days after it happened.
Right. Why is that a successful accomplishment?
To those of you who may want to ask, let me address very directly, I did not kill my daughter, Jonbenet. Jonbenet and I had a very close relationship. I will miss her dearly for the rest of my life.
I'm appalled that anyone would think that John or I would be involved in such a hideous, heinous crime. But let me assure you that I did not kill Jonbenet. I did not have anything to do with it. I love that child with my whole of my heart and soul.
This last 30 to 60 second snippet we've just watched, they are very convincing, quite frankly, to me, in those basic declarative statements.
I did not kill Jonbenet.
I did not kill my daughter, Jonbenet.
I haven't seen John or Patsy be as adamant about any statement than these two.
And they do come across, I have to say, very well, you know, in terms of the posturing and the way that they present themselves.
What does it do to you to hear that somebody close to you may have done this to your daughter?
person, I think it makes you very much more guarded. We felt we lived in a safe community and still do.
Compare this statement that he's making right now, hemming and hawing, umming and awing, to what he said about 4 minutes ago. I did not kill my daughter, Patsy. I did not murder my daughter. Now all of a sudden he's not even answering the question, and the non sequiturs he's throwing out there, he can't even put in cogent sentences. And what I find in situations such as this, it's not just important what is said, it can also be just as important, if not more so, what is not said.
Tomorrow night, on the conclusion of the case of Jonbenet Ramsey.
The key issues with this case, the theory of an intruder coming through the basement. None of this makes sense.
You've completely wiped out that whole corner.
There's a cobweb completely intact.
We should let the evidence speak for itself.
I think they have to retest.
The panty have DNA.
Do you have any secrets, do you think? If I did remember any, I don't think I'd tell you.
There were 2 other people still alive in that house that night.
John and Burke.
Can you tell me what this picture is?
Oh, something.
So why isn't he just saying what it is?
This is the last time I'm going to talk about the case. For 14 years, nobody had any idea until a grand juror stepped forward and disclosed, we voted to indict.
No charges have been filed.
He contradicting what the grand jury did. And I just don't understand that.
We see it in the letter, in the press conferences.
God knows who you are, and we will find you.
Every step along the way, we see it.
We hope to get the truth out about how she died.
The evidence clearly indicates to me.
And I think we all agree on that.
Yes.
Yes.
Our goal is to finally get to the truth.